receive. So it helps your business get instant credibility. It also, I see our role as helping you make the connections that you might not necessarily make or take you longer to make, because eventually we'll always get to the right person, or we hope to. But, if you can do it quicker and easier, why reinvent the wheel? That's what we're there for. I had our newest chamber partners joined yesterday, and it was Missy Hatfield. So they said, okay, well, we're trying to reach their target. And I'm rhyming off all these things. And she left and she said, holy mackerel, this would have taken me so long to have tried to do this myself. She said, and you just rhymed off 10 different people and organizations I can reach out to, which I had never even thought of before. So, that's, I think, one of the benefits that we as the chamber, and it's hands-on. I mean, I was the one doing it with her. And it's not like that always happens, but, we are really there to help our members. It's not about, okay, how many new members can we get? It's really, are we satisfying their needs? And so when you said, Richard, how are we changing, especially when Palm Bay is growing, it is the largest city to begin with. We have a salesperson now, Yahoo. So we didn't have that for quite a few years either. So we have Cheri Smith, who is phenomenal.
She is phenomenal.
Right.
And very well known in the community too.
Absolutely. And it's those relationships that make the difference. And she's one to reach out to make sure that the new members are getting their needs met, that, if they want to have their advertising on their page, because every member gets a page, they can list their hot deals. If they have an event coming up, that we get this listed. If they're having trouble getting into the system, she does that one-on-one with them, really takes the time to make sure the new members feel welcome, and continues for 90 days after. So she sends out private emails.
That is a big deal.
It is a big deal, yeah, because one of the things that we realize as a chamber is that retention is important. And you don't want people just joining and then saying, I got nothing out of it, and then they drop. That's the worst thing. It's like, how I look at it, how did we fail them? And some obviously will go out of business. Some might move on, or they found the chamber just really wasn't for them. But my mission is to find out what their needs are and how we can help them reach their goals. So that's what I see as our mission at the chamber. And we're doing so many events and so many new things to engage them and the community, because, I'm trying to engage the community as well. So we're having some new special events in 2017 to bring the community into it as well, and know about the chamber and, meet new businesses.
Well, I loved how you said that, because, we have 4 chambers here in the county,
Yes.
and I'm so excited to hear that you are all, the CEOs are now meeting, I think, once a month at a
quarterly
for a
yes.
breakfast.
Yes.
I was so, as a chamber member of all 4 chambers, we were very happy to hear this, because I know that each chamber has their own uniqueness, and they have their own specialty, but they all are great. And for the member to really determine which is the best fit, and it's okay to belong to all of them. Or as I heard Jennifer Sugarman, who is the CEO of the Cocoa Beach Chamber, last Friday at an event that I attended through the We Venture, the Impact, and she was on the panel, and she said, it's okay if you don't join our chamber, but you go join the Greater Palm Bay Chamber if that's where you're going to get the best top of mind awareness and to grow your business. And I was so happy to hear that you're all working together.
Oh, absolutely. That was one of the things. Well, because 3 of us are new. Marcia's been around the longest, but 3 of us.
I call her seasoned.
Yes, a seasoned CEO. But the rest of us have been in the positions probably less than 2 years. And so that was one of the goals was, and I was a member of Cocoa and Melbourne and Palm Bay before I took this job. So I did have friends in there, and you can't suddenly say, oh, I can't talk to you now. That's crazy. We all are still doing business together. Exactly. And have the same mindset as Jennifer. It was, I found value in the different chambers. And so it's not as if, you're committing a crime if you go to the other chambers. And I keep saying, for people in Melbourne, you can come south of 192. We're the largest city. It's okay. And, I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, we are all really trying to work together, because in the end, it's about our businesses. It's about our members. It's not about us as a chamber.
I have a word that I use when we talk about this in what we do with our businesses and our competitors, and that it's more of co-opetition.
Yes.
And not competition where,
right.
Everybody gets together and we figure out how do we raise the tide so that we can all rise together across
Absolutely.
that thing. And I'm really glad to hear that the chamber presidents and everything are really working in that direction.
We're also actually working with Linda Weatherman with the EDC. Okay. She's having quarterly dinners too where we all get together. So really it's almost 8 times a year, because I think if we're trying to, with the EDC, bring in businesses to Brevard County, all the chambers should be engaged and invested in that. So that was very nice of the EDC to reach out as well. So yeah, it's very nice. And, all the presidents get along well. And so it's great. It really is great. We go to each other's events and, we're trying to support each other and just say there's not that animosity. It's good. So.
Well, like you said, the goal is to grow businesses in Brevard County.
Yep.
And you can't do that if you're trying to alienate people around you and play the I'm better than you game.
No, and Cheri hit it when she said they're very unique and each one has its own value. And so they have their own little personalities and the people that go to them, it is. Yeah, it really does. And so I agree. And so we just are we are this. It's funny, the largest city in the smallest chamber, and yet, but it's growing
for right now.
Yes, we are growing. So thank you, Cheri. That is very nice. We've had about a 350% increase over the same time last year. So
wow,
yeah,
we're phenomenal.
Excited. Yes, yeah. So that's very nice, and we're excited to make sure that continues. But also, like I said, our goal is to really help our members. We want them to stay with us and feel like it was a great investment to join the Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce. So. Yeah.
So I know you have a lot of different things coming up, but what are some of the new events that you've been able to initiate since you've come on board as the chamber?
Well, the staff actually say to me, just because there's a blank spot on the calendar, I don't need to fill it. Because I'm like, okay. Before we just used to really have our monthly luncheon, as you know, the signature luncheon at Life Care Center off of Malabar Road. And then some special events. And so I thought, really, if you're an entrepreneur, luncheons are often not difficult. It's the middle of the day. So we've, everything actually on our calendars now is really new. We have the entrepreneurial breakfast that you mentioned, the entrepreneurial leadership breakfast. And then we have the after hour mingles. We just had a tabletop mingle, which was great.
Great one.
That was fun. Yeah, it was. That was at the Crown Plaza, so that was really nice. You can't go wrong with oceanfront.
That's right. Everything on the beach.
Yeah. And then yesterday was our very first Business Women of Brevard meeting. That was, to me, phenomenal. We had 140 attendees, which,
first time
event. It was amazing. And of course, shout out to Malak Hamad, who is our chairwoman and is somebody you could learn social media from, because that woman knows how to work Facebook better than anybody I know.
She's got a lot of top of mind awareness out there. She does, and yet she's such a giver because she's involved in so many nonprofits as well.
Yes,
and the energy yesterday in that room.
Yes,
and tell them. We actually stood on the same floor that Jay Leno stood on. So that was exciting. So talk about a little bit about Larson Motorsport. They're a great chamber partner with you.
They are a chamber partner. They reached out to us when actually shortly after they came to Palm Bay, because they could go anywhere. For those of you that don't know, Larson Motorsports is on Palm Bay Road. They're working with FIT right across from Harris. And Elaine Larson is the 2-time World Jet Dragster champion. And so this woman goes like 285 miles an hour. And
amazing lady.
She is amazing. And she's another giver. She mentors. Her team is a team of young women that help design the car. They help build the car. They are the pit crew. And she has female teams racing along with her. So she's competing against her own crew. So it's phenomenal. And they have men coming in there as well, because they're working with FIT for the engineering students to have hands-on, experience, because that's what I think a lot of employers are saying. Students are leaving college and have book smarts and no clue. So this is great. So she stepped up and said, we would love to have that at our facility, because we were going to have it at Riverview Senior Resort Living. So shout out to them. But when it started to grow the way it did, we couldn't fit it in there. So now we're like, okay, where do we go? And Elaine just said, yeah, absolutely. We'll have it here. So it was awesome. Great. Yes. That's
an amazing story.
Yeah, it was there was lots more happening too yesterday, yes, but anyway, for those that you were there, we'll share that because we don't want any trouble on the radio. But yes, for those of you that know the story, want to call us, we'll tell you the full details on why we had to move. But yeah, we also, I think one of my main things was it's Business Women of Brevard. And for those of you that were there and heard the story, I'm very much wanting to support business women, and we did not want to be intimidated. And Elaine was like, oh no, you bring it here. We have this under control and we'll make sure everything runs smoothly. So it was great.
Yeah, and she actually welcomed Jay Leno in there.
Oh, yes.
But 2 months, and
I got to meet him and my picture with him. Yes, that was really cool.
Because he wanted to, and he brought her facility onto his show, right?
Yeah, Jay Leno's Garage. And actually, I've watched all the episodes now. They're really interesting. I'm not a car geek, but man, it's pretty cool.
Pretty good, yeah.
So he came and he was at the King Center on the Sunday night, and on Monday went to her facility. They filmed the whole location, and then went over to Orlando and had a race. So Jay Leno got to drive her Corvette, and she was driving her jet car, and she gave him an 8-second head start, and you could hear him in the car, and he goes, yeah, I'm going to beat her. Yeah, I know. Okay, I got a head start, and he's driving along, and then she passes him like zoom. And she was at the end. He was just laughing his head off. He just said, this is awesome. So we got to meet him before he went over there. So yes, that was a very nice perk of the job. I never would have got to meet him.
I was like, see what's happening in Palm Bay. Awesome things happening in Palm Bay, definitely. And I will tell you, just to kind of, before we go on to some other events that you have coming up, but with the event yesterday with the Brevard Businesswomen, I really love the format and the fact that it isn't just a meeting.
No.
You're really looking at developing a group of women that want to be mentors to other businesswomen.
Yes.
That's unique.
Yeah, I had a questionnaire, and we had actually 75 fill them out, which I thought was phenomenal. It's more than 50%, because normally, everybody, do a survey, you get, 2%? So at least 75 returned, and we were asking questions, how can we help your business? What are you looking for from this meeting? Would you like to be a mentor to other women? Would you want to help on the steering committee? Just so that they don't come, you have a speaker, you network, and you go. We have a lot of women's organizations. We know, Cheri, we've been involved in how many?
I'm going to be at my 7th one, I think, tomorrow in a month, Right. So yes, exactly.
Yeah. There's lots of them out there. And I said, I don't want to do the same old thing. I am very engaged in how we can help. That's always been, no matter when I was in the other nonprofit at Serene Harbor or with this, how can we help? And so I really think that does make the difference, because then we're going to connect the women with the resources that they're looking for. So actually, we have a volunteer that's from UCF today. It's her very first day, and she is actually creating a spreadsheet of all the results. So I'm very excited. Yeah,
that is exciting.
So we'll go over them and then see, in the coming months, who we need to bring in, because I did notice social media was one of the, so, we'll continue with your trainings and, who we can bring in. And we want to look at having panel discussions, not just a speaker,
I like
right?
That. Yes.
And we want to I'm thinking of maybe some quarterly events for that group, so that it's a little different, whether we want to do a mastermind or have, it's all swirling in my brain of all these things I want to do.
No, but I love where you're going with this. You're really thinking outside the box for the members.
Yes.
And that's what I'm hearing, and that's what I'm loving.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, to me, that we wouldn't be in business without our members. So if we're not meeting their needs, we're not meeting our mission.
Awesome.
So, yeah, thank you, Cheri.
Yeah, businesses pay attention to that way, and that just shows your profound intellect and your profound caring.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and we do things for our members. I mean, I spoke in front of the city council about CAMID, which is that computer aided manufacturing and innovative design that's right by the Larsons. That is unique to Palm Bay. They're looking at doing 3D printing with mixed metals. So not just the plastic that we're kind of seeing now. They're really on the forefront. And then Fab Lab is in the Innovation Center. So we have these incubator things that are happening in Palm Bay on Palm Bay Road. And they're kind of looking at making that a tech corridor because obviously it's right across from Harris, who's a trustee of ours. And so it's kind of neat to have these